you're hearing that music, welcome to the Empire 161 show. Sunday night jamming out here with Lisa. If you haven't been to the stadium or maybe didn't catch it, this is Brett Gardner's walk-up music this season. And Lisa and I personally absolutely love the fact that it is. So, yeah, if you are jamming to it too, Lisa, you want to say the name of the song before I totally destroy it?
Yes, so we looked it up, and it's Si Estrucho, which apparently I can't hear myself. I want to keep the song on, but I couldn't hear myself. The song is entitled Si Estrucho, and I asked somebody who speaks Spanish, because I don't, unfortunately, and it allegedly means if it's false, it's false. But we were talking about the lyrics, and they said the lyrics don't make sense compared to the song. So we still have to investigate it. So we're gonna fill you all in after we deep dive into this. However, the first time you and I heard it was a few weeks ago, and I was like, that sounds like a samba song. And then today, when we looked it up while we were at the game, we saw that it was a song by Axel Roulet and Faruco and a few other people. And those are Latin artists. So go Brett Gardner, veering from 100% like cowboy country music to a samba song from a Puerto Rican artist.
Yeah. We want to know exactly. There's got to be some fun story behind exactly how we just can't imagine Brett Gardner went out one night like with his wife or something, and they went to like a Latin club or something, and they heard this, and he's like, yo, I need this as my walk-up music. There's got to be something going on with some bet or joke or something's up. We'll try to find out.
I feel like our boy Rough Odor had something to do with it.
That would be great. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's a lot, like Gary Sanchez could have something to do with it. Bruno Glaber, I can kind of see that maybe. I don't know, but it's awesome, and I hope he sticks with it because it's such a absolutely fantastic. He might not know one word that's going on in that song, but he's like, whatever, it's my walk-up music, and that's it.
That's it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us once again, whether it's on the Facebook stream, or if you're joining us on YouTube, or if you're joining us on Instagram or Twitter, or the audio-only version on the pod, wherever you get your podcast from. Gracias. Thank you for joining us and going ahead and supporting the show. Always appreciate it. Lisa, what's up? What do we got on deck today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Yankees' 2 recent series versus the Baltimore Orioles, and then just recently with the Seattle Mariners. Ed and I were at Game 4 today, and unfortunately it was a loss. However, they did take 3 out of the 4 games, so we were excited about that. We'll also be talking a little bit, very quick little tidbit about the USA men's baseball team in the Olympics. We'll be talking about the Field of Dreams game coming up with the White Sox, which sounds really, really cool. And, we'll see what else comes along as we talk about the games. But Ed, I do have to point out, this is the second game that we've been to that the first one we did not do a promo. The second one we did, but both games we caught L's.
That we did promos for?
No. Well, the first game we did not do a promo.
Yeah, and they won.
Game we did do one. No, I thought did they win that game? I thought they lost. I thought we were not happy. We went to a game.
Oh, like, the Subway Series game.
Maybe, because I remember at the end you were like, "Nah, we're not doing a promo." They lost.
It was the Saturday Subway Series game that we were at, because we were like, we were gonna cut a promo for it, and then I was just like in a pissy mood, and I'm like, no, I can't. And there were a whole
bunch of Mets fans like, "Let's go Mets!"
Yeah, because the Yanks got blown out. Yeah, we were just like, we're not having this, so we'll save it for another time. I'm sure we'll be there some plenty of games, and we'll do that. But yeah, I don't know. We got to see how this promo at the stadium goes. Like, if we do it, we'll do it again next time. They take another L. Then we can't
do it together anymore. Then
no separate promos. Then that's promos. It. Because we were both at the game on Wednesday night. Yes, and that's when you cut the promo, and they beat the crap out of the Orioles.
That's right.
I'm superstitious like that. If I'm not playing in it, I'm very superstitious. So that
I
might be the
know.
way. That might be the way it goes. But we're not going to give up on it just yet. I mean,
We aren't. We
stuff
aren't.
happens. What are you
And
going to do?
hey, before we start, I would be remiss. I would not be a good Titi if I did not say shout out to the Coast team in Massapequa Park because they won their travel team championship this weekend. My nephew,
Congratulations!
thank you. My nephew Gabriel, our promo boy, our promo guy, was at bat and he walked. And when the pitcher threw the ball, it went behind the catcher. So the young man that was at third base stole home, and that's how they won the game.
Wow,
Yeah, it was pretty
that
impressive.
is
My
it's
older brother,
crazy.
my older brother Joe filmed it, so I got to see it, and it was just so cool. And they all freaked out. It was great, and it was my other older brother Brian's first time managing a travel team too. So congrats to Brian and his wife Barbara, my sister-in-law, who was team mom / scorekeeper / low key coach on the team too.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a family thing, and I'm really excited for them all. He called me later in the day to tell me about it, and he
That's
was really
awesome.
amped. Yeah,
That's awesome. Congratulations to the whole squad. I mean, that's great, and that's a really exciting, crazy ending.
yeah, it is, right? That's a cool way to win a game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, shoot, I was involved in some wild softball games this week, but nothing like that. That was, I mean,
Listen, the
whatever.
last time somebody slid into home when I played, it was not a happy story for me,
No,
and
no. So at
I've
least
got
this
the
makes up
scar to
for it.
prove it.
It's true. All right. Well, congratulations to them, and we'll jump in quick to Schwib. We don't have too much. That it wasn't too many crazy things going on. But if you're watching the Olympics, which just wraps up, USA baseball was involved, and they actually were in the gold medal game against Japan yesterday morning, and they unfortunately lost 2-0. They were shut down by someone who has some pretty serious Yankee ties. Someone who I'm sure we all miss very much, in Masahiro Tanaka. So I guess if they're going to lose, it's okay to go ahead and, Tanaka gets his gold medal. We didn't get a chance to get a World Series here, but he's got an Olympic gold medal, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't expect a lot of people were catching too many of the games because of the time difference, and the games were starting at like 6 a.m. So I was catching like the tail end of the games, and I would wake up around 8 o'clock, and I would catch a few. But Tyler Austin was on the team, who had a phenomenal Olympics. He was a beast. One former Yankee that Tim and I had the pleasure of meeting on the field one year. Well done, word.
I was
Lisa, weren't
there.
you? Yes, Lisa. So you met him too. All right, that's right. I forgot
did.
you were there that
I
time.
also met him at the women's camp.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He
So
came
there
the
you go.
next year to
Ties.
women's camp.
We are ties to a silver medal winning Olympian in some weird way. And then David Robertson, another former Yankee, was also on Team USA, as was former Yankee Todd Frazier.
Yeah. So we had a lot of people there.
Yeah, so too many Yankee ties for us to be like, oh, we're not going to, acknowledge it. So there is that. But it was cool, honestly. It was an interesting thing. Japan plays very super fundamental baseball. So that was something they're bunting constantly. Runners are in motion constantly. Defense was solid. So it's different. Like the Olympics baseball right now is usually for Team USA at least, we're not stopping the baseball season and sending our all-star squad there by any stretch of the imagination. Like hockey does. The NHL actually does that. Excuse me, I got like some caught in my throat. Can't seem to get rid of it. There we go. So we're not doing that, but we're sending over a representative squad. I mean, if you're winning silver medal, that's pretty good.
Absolutely.
So it was fun to watch, get to catch up with some of those players and stuff. So,
and Ed, I have to say as well, since you're talking about the men's team, the women's team also won the silver medal in the Olympics, and they also lost to Japan. So shout out to the U.S. women's softball team as well for winning the medal.
Well, didn't I'm trying to remember who the USA women's basketball, who won the gold medal. We got gold medals in basketball for men's and women's.
Yes, we did.
Did the women's team beat Japan in the final last night?
For basketball?
Yeah. Did they?
I don't know, but I could look real quick.
I feel like that's like Japan keeps on stealing the gold medal from us in the other sports. So did we get them back in like one of them? So I caught the on Friday night. I caught the end of the men's basketball, and they got the gold medal. But the women's team is on some ridiculous run right now.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah, so the women's team won the gold against Japan. The score was 90-75.
Oh yeah, no, I knew they wiped the floor with somebody, and I'm pretty sure it was Japan. I couldn't remember because
Yeah.
I caught part of that game too. So, all right, so hey, we got the gold from them once. Then I'll rock with that. I'm not a huge Olympics fan, but if the sport or competition interests me, then I'm into it. Like the summer. I'm gonna get to it. You already know. So the summer, I usually I like basketball as well. So I watch the basketball games, men's and women's, and softball and baseball. I'll check it out because when they were playing, when USA was playing, I was in the Poconos, and me and Paul were actually watching some of the women's USA Team USA. In the winter, though, all about the hockey and all about the curling. Yes, all about the curling, like the intensity with the sweeping and everything. You can't not get into that.
Oh my gosh, I love curling so much. I never thought I never thought I'd deep dive into a sport so much as that, and find somebody who had that common love out of nowhere.
Listen, I was
we
close
talked
to
about
getting
it one day.
Yeah, we did because I don't know where the heck we were, but I think we were like, it happened to be clicking. We clicked onto it and was like, oh wow, curling. I'm gonna check. Don't be surprised I get like a Team USA curling shirt or some nonsense like that. I would, and I actually had to look up the rules. This all started on a random drunk night on the East Side when the Olympics were on one year, and I was talking with the bartender. I think I might have been waiting to meet up with like Grogan or something. He didn't get there yet, and we started chatting because we knew the bartender, this guy named Andy, and we were like, "What the hell is this?" And we started watching it, and then started getting into it, and like these people are really like hyped about this. What the hell is this? Oh, it's curling. Curling. All right. Oh, this is wild. And started looking up the house and everything, and like the rules, and like knocking them out and everything. So, yeah, that can't come soon enough. But yes, the summer ones, the summer Olympics were pretty good. I enjoyed some of it, but
Yeah. Wait, so you don't like swimming or anything like that, or track and field? Because I love swimming, track and field, gymnastics. I like watching those.
I mean, if there's nothing on, I'll click by it. I mean, NBC also doesn't make it easy to find these things. Like I noticed they put like they'll have it on USA and NBC and MSNBC and whatever the heck else that they own, and they'll put it on there. But it always says like basketball, soccer, wrestling, boxing, and I'm like, well, which one is it at what time? Like, I mean, you got to be a little bit more of the script than that. So no, I'll check him out. Me and Andrew were watching boxing a little bit the other day and stuff, and she's into like the figure skating in the winter.
Yeah,
and there's another one in the winter where they do a bunch of things and they end up like shooting something and everything. They're like skiing and then they stop and then they shoot a target. I was all right, that's cool.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it's called though.
I don't either. I think it's like the winter version of a decathlon or something like that, or a triathlon.
That works for me. That's absolutely fine. So if we do an off-season special, and the Winter Olympics happen to be on, we can start chatting about some of Winter Olympics stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I wonder what that would be like. No, I guess what if baseball, like what if MLB decides to stop the season, and we're like, hey, 2-week pause for the Olympics. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just think it wouldn't work the same way as hockey does.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's almost like an extended all-star break.
Yeah.
Like they could, I don't know. I think it would be pretty cool. I would also be concerned. It would obviously be concerning if some of the players got hurt, or like unfortunately what happened this year with the Olympics, where many of the United States team was getting COVID, which is also what's happening now with the Yankees. We'll get to that later. But I think it would be interesting, particularly if it's players who like, all right, you're not the starters, like, so maybe a couple of bench players from teams that are playing now, or a couple of starters that won't be, starting pitchers that won't be starting for, like 5 or 6 days. They can go pitch a game, come back, whatever it is. Obviously depends on where it is too. It's hard to kind of get quickly home from Japan. That's a long ride, a long flight. But we'll see. I think the next Olympics, if I'm not mistaken, is in France. I think
I don't know. The summer? I'm not sure.
I think the next Summer Olympics is in France, which isn't as far. So, but I mean, I don't know. I think it would be cool to see some players. But then again, you mentioned some pretty relevant players that
Yeah.
went, you know? So
Oh, that's
that's
why I
pretty
dig
cool.
the WBC. Like, I know the World Baseball Classic hasn't like been like a massive thing yet, but I kind of dig it. I dig the fact that they play. You know, I mean, Major League Baseball also owns and runs the WBC, so that's why they're like, all
Right.
right, we can do that. But they play before the season, the time where you're kind of like getting ready to play baseball and you want baseball season to start, you're dying for opening day, and they give you that. And I always dig like international competition and stuff. And the teams have been good. I mean, I know the U.S. won a couple. It was supposed to be last year, and obviously got canceled.
Hmm.
But I hope that's something that just doesn't go away because I mean, the U.S. won it last time, you know, finally. I mean, you know, Dominican Republic won before that, Japan before them. So, but it's over. I don't know. I just dig it. I always think it's a lot of fun, and you get to see, you know, a lot of the players there. But you're right. The injury is always going to be a risk. That's it. Like John Tavares from the Islanders got hurt
Hmm.
in the hockey Olympics, and he was out for the year. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, now that raised massive questions. And like, should the NHL keep stopping for this? But with the NHL players, they're so into the international competition. Like you'd almost think that some of them would rather win and go play for their country versus whatever team they're getting paid by. I mean, that's how like passionate they are about it. I just don't know if you know maybe baseball is the same way, or maybe Major League Baseball is just like, no, we're not messing with that. You know, we're not trying to get anyone hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be I think it's a different kind of honor to win something for
Yeah.
your home country or the country where your family came from, even if you weren't born there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
an Olympic moment, and I'm sure there's a lot of them, but this one resonates with me in particular. Jasmine Camacho Quinn, she won the 100-meter hurdles for Puerto Rico, which was the first time Puerto Rico, I think, ever
That's
won a
right.
track and field event.
Yeah.
And you know, Puerto Rico's a small island compared to a lot of the other nations that are in the Olympics. So for them to win anything is it's pretty monumental, let alone in a sport that like we're not known for track and field. So and she lives in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, she lives in the States because Puerto Rico is part of US
Yes.
territory. So she lives in the States. But I think I don't know, like if Gleyber Torres got to play for Venezuela or Aldis Chapman got well, I don't know
He
where he'd
did.
want. I don't know where he'd
I
want to
don't
play
know if he
for,
would want.
but
I don't know if he'd want to go back again, but you know.
yeah. But like you know, all the players who their home country is not the U.S., they get to play for them.
No.
And then like people like me who like I'm born in the U.S., but I'm so proud of being Puerto Rican. Like I get to cheer for you know my country of origin and the island that my family is from, and that's always fun too to kind of cheer for both things too. So I don't know. I mean, I hope MLB's got 3 years to decide if they want to do something like hockey does, or just you know they consider the World Baseball Classic their version of the Olympics. I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like the baseball World Cup, if you want to call it that, or you
Yeah.
know whatever it is. So I don't know. I dig it, and I just really hope that the WBC doesn't go away. Hopefully, maybe they'll do it next year or something like that. Once COVID's over, they could do that because I do dig that. And U.S. always rolls out a good team. You know, Puerto Rico always rolls out a really good team. Dominican Republic also rolls out a good team. So it's and Japan constantly rolls out a good team. So
Yeah.
those are usually like the heavy hitters in WBC. So like I said, I just really dug it. I mean, I remember when the U.S. won it last time. I mean, I stayed up until like 1:30 in the morning watching it. It was like watching West Coast baseball. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's cool, and I'm hopefully we'll see it again one day.
Yeah.
One of the things let's get into the recap because the first game is definitely something I do not want to see again. Let's go back to Monday night, which seems like so long ago at times. But it was the Orioles going ahead. The Yanks kicked off their homestand. That's right. I knew I was going to get you with that one. Yeah, pretty brutal. Andrew Heaney made his debut in pinstripes, giving up going 4 innings, giving up 6 hits and 4 earned runs, 4 Ks, and suffering his 8th loss of the season. But even worse than that, though, is how egregious the Yankees' offense was. I mean, they scored on a Rizzo sac fly once, and that was it. But they were 3 for 28 in the game, and 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Literally impossible to win, and when you're going ahead and putting up offense like that. But I do have a tidbit here about Andrew Heaney's do I want to say awfulness, or do I? I mean, it's definitely not the kind of history that you are looking to make. But Heaney has now, at that point, allowed in 9 games, allowing 3+ home runs since 2018, and that is tied for the most in Major League Baseball over that span.
Yikes.
So what you're going to get from Andrew Heaney, Yankees fans, is, and we saw a little bit of it yesterday, is you're going to get see a lot of strikeouts, but you're also unfortunately going to see a lot of home runs for the opposition. So when Heaney starts, you better bring the bats. That's pretty much what it is. You really, if they don't hit, then they're not going to have a chance. But we did say last week that the trade for Heaney was pretty much to get someone to get an innings eater. Someone who can go ahead and they're not expecting a lot, get your strikeouts, try to give us a chance with 3 or 4 runs, as a fifth starter usually does, so we don't have to destroy our bullpen every 5th day instead of that. So that's the function of him. So whatever, I get it.
Okay, but can we talk about my favorite part of that game?
Absolutely. We're not going to not talk about that. I mean, the most entertaining thing in that game.
The best runner in that game was a feline.
That went on for a while.
It went on for I was hysterical. That made my night. Bottom of the 8th inning, Aaron Judge gets up to bat, and a cat runs on the field, and hijinks with the field crew ensues. Mm-hmm. Big time. The field crew could not catch that cat for their life. Well, I don't even think they wanted to. Only one of them was smart and had gloves on. The rest of them were they were just fodder for the cat to go to town on them. It was so funny because there was one point where they got the cat to go to the Orioles bullpen, and the guy, I don't know who it was, but there was a guy on the other side of the door that was just like, I'm not opening the door. I'm not opening the door for this cat. And I know that the cat was probably petrified. The entire stadium is cheering it on. It jumped up onto the top of the padding by the bullpen and was running around over there. And it just stopped and looked around as the crowds were cheering. I felt really bad for it. Thankfully, it after I would say a good 7 minutes at least, it ran into a door that was left open on the side of the field by the Orioles and ran into the stands and never saw it again. But I've never, ever in my 40+ years on this earth seen an animal other than a squirrel or a bird go onto a field.
So crazy thing to this, right? It did happen earlier this season with the Rockies.
What?
Okay, listen to this though. That cat was massive, overgrown coat and everything. It looked rabid. Ooh. And if you can look it up on YouTube, you can see it. I cannot believe that those people tackled that cat. Not violently, but whatever. They got him, but that cat looked like he was completely insane. And there were no gloves, no nothing. They just grabbed him and that's it. I'm like, oh hell no, absolutely not. I love animals, but that's not happening. You're gonna get shooed into something, like a broom maybe guide you this way or something. I'm not gonna hit you with it, but guide you get out of here with that because you don't know what is going to happen. I'll scratch your eyes out or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So real quick, funny thing too, that same night that same day at the Washington Nationals game, one of the players had a praying mantis on his hat.
Yes.
And
I think it was Robles.
A big one. Yeah, their center fielder. So I guess he was in the dugout and hanging out and didn't have his hat on. He goes to put his hat on, praying mantis on his hat. Mm-hmm. Puts the hat on, praying mantis stays on it. He goes to the outfield, praying mantis is still on his hat. I thought that was crazy. I would not have put that hat back on.
I know. He knew it and just ran with
another one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that thing was just chilling. Yep, I'm here.
I know. I think he saw it there and was just he just kind of rolled with it. He was like, whatever, it's there. I think he adjusted his hat a couple of times. He wasn't trying to knock him off. Yeah. that was pretty wild. But another tidbit though on the way that as the headline reads, birds crapped on the Yanks. The Orioles are the first team ever to come into either Yankee Stadium, 30+ games under 500 at the time of the game, and hit more home runs than the Yankees had hits. The Orioles homered 4 times off of Heaney, which we had mentioned, and then the Yankees only had mustered up 3 hits that day.
Yikes.
that's pretty brutal.
That's awful.
But on the upswing, the Yanks would definitely make them pay for that the following two nights.
Yes.
But a wild thing is this was the day where we had found out that Garrett Cole tested positive for COVID. Okay, so
Yeah.
the Yanks needed an emergency starter. They moved Nestor Cortez, who was originally supposed to start the Tuesday game, to later in the week. And then we got our first look at one of the Yanks' top pitching prospects, Luis Gil. He made his MLB debut, and he got his first win.
It was
6 innings.
masterful.
Oh, he was awesome, and he wasn't having the greatest season in the minors either. So this was purely out of like desperation. But the Yanks might be onto something here. I mean, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. But Stephen Ridings, another call up because of an emergency here, also made his MLB debut and has looked phenomenal in his now 4 appearances, but this was his first one. Came in and struck out the side. Gave 1 hit.
Not only that, his first pitch was 101 miles per hour. So I'm sure the Orioles were like, "What in the world? Like,
where the hell is this kid?"
Yeah,
exactly.
And fun fact too.
Fun
fact: he's the tallest Yankee now. He's 6'8".
Is he? Wow.
He is 6'8". He's the tallest Yankee, and he's from Comac, Long Island. So shout out to my Long Island people.
Oh wow. Okay. I actually did not know that. There you go. So we got a hometown hero, potential hometown hero there.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it keeps on going. But Stanton was 2 for 5 with his 17th homer of the year, driving in 4 runs. Also scored 2 himself. Aaron Judge was 2 for 5 in his 22nd homer of the year. Glaber was 2 for 3, 2 RBIs with a double. LeMahieu was 2 for 4 with an RBI and a double, 2 runs scored. My boy Anthony Rizzo was 2 for 5 with an RBI. Now, Lisa, you want to drop in a tidbit because that was some Major League history right there.
Yes, Anthony Rizzo. Is this where I have my note for it? Because if I don't, you might have to drop that tidbit.
Okay.
I think I have that for the next game. Yeah.
All right. So I will say probably a little bit a game off there. Not a big deal. It's okay. We don't want to bury the lead there. But Rizzo was 2 for 5 with an RBI, 2 runs scored. Gary Sanchez was 2 for 4 with an RBI and a double. So,
yes. And we had 3 pitchers. You mentioned 2, but we had 3 pitchers that made their major league debuts. Mm-hmm. The third pitcher was Brody Kerner. I think I'm saying his name right. I hope. Yep. He wasn't as successful as the other 2 were, but did a decent enough job. In his inning, he came in the top of the 8th, and at that game, the Yankees had their most runs scored this season: 13 runs, 15 hits, and no errors. So, it's about time, guys. It's about time.
When the offense is rolling this week, I mean, we're really, really rolling this week. All right, so then we'll roll on to Wednesday, where the Yanks beat up the Orioles once again. Yeah. By a final 10-3. That was the game that we were at, where Lisa had cut the promo for the show for. Jameson Taillon got to start, going 6 in the third, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 10 Ks. But Johnny Lasagna picked up the win, his 8th of the season, pitching 2/3 of an inning and giving up 1 hit. DJ LeMahieu was 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a double and a run scored. Giancarlo Stanton kept on swinging pretty well this week because he had a streak, which, spoiler alert, ended today with multiple hits games. But he had 5 multi-hit games in a row. 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, with a double, run scored, and that's where Rizzo hit his 17th home run of the season. Where, Lisa?
Yes, Anthony Rizzo is the first player in Yankees history, and we have mentioned this in several podcasts now, to be the first to do something in Yankee history with their long history is very impressive. He was the first player in Yankees history to score 6 RBIs in his first 6 games. So he is feeling very comfortable in those beautiful pinstripes, and we are loving him. And you could definitely tell. I mean, the crowd just goes crazy when he's in the game.
He also, you remember the first at bat of the game he had too, when he was going ahead and he kept on fouling off pitches repeatedly. I think it was like a 12-13 pitch at bat. where he was just like, and they were facing Matt Harvey that day, and he just kept on fouling him off and fouling him off and fouling him off. And it was just like, dude, Harvey has nothing. He has absolutely nothing for him.
So not only were they fouling him off and fouling him off, but he was fouling him off to the section I was sitting in. Shout out to section 210 that night. I told Ed this woman got 2 foul balls almost in a row hit right to her. She was about 5 rows behind us. I was very upset that it wasn't at least 2 rows behind us so we could go for it. But yeah, it was so cool. I've never sat in such a hot section before. So shout out to the free tickets I got that night.
Nice. Gleyber Torres had 2 RBIs in the double that game. And I feel like this definitely was the Tuesday game, but whatever. Because Greg Allen was 1 for 3 with a run scored and a stolen base. So that was definitely in that one. But Greg Allen is the first player in Yankees history with at least 5 stolen bases and 5 hit by pitch in his first 15 games with the team. Just very awkward, quirky stat right there. But whatever, guess what? He's getting on base, right? Whether he's getting a hit or he's drawing a walk or he's getting hit by a pitch, I guess. Whatever. So,
yeah, shout out to Greg Allen. I miss you already, buddy.
Yes, I sure do. But Greg Allen, though, we were chatting about this earlier. Greg Allen was actually sent down. It's pretty much a clerical thing. So the Yanks called him up due to like the specific COVID IL replacement. This is back when like Judge went on there. So he's out of options. So they technically can't go ahead and send him back down again when him and Jonathan Davis are both out of options. So they had to go, since they had the exception this time, they sent him down. But if they call him up and send him down again, they lose him. And anyone can claim him off of waivers. So the Yankees probably obviously put value on him. He's on a 40-man roster as well as Jonathan Davis is. So they kind of like found the loophole and stuff like that. So this is definitely not the last we're going to see of Greg Allen this season in pinstripes. I can't imagine that. Plus, we'll get into it in more detail later. But with the way things are going, who the hell knows? You know, who you might see getting called up again.
Yeah.
Thursday night's game when the Mariners came rolling into town was a pretty wild game there. I mean, this was the Joey Gallo pinstripe moment game. But Nestor Cortez got the start here since his start was bumped from Tuesday to Thursday. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 2 Ks. Nothing super spectacular, but doing the job, though. Like, gave them a chance to win. That's it. If you give up 3 runs or less and you go 5 or 6 innings, then, you know, you've done it. You've given a chance. You've given the team a chance to win. That's, you know, all you can ask for. But Chad Green picked up the win, his 5th of the season. He went 2 innings, giving up an earned run and 2 Ks. Chapman picked up his 23rd save of the season, which was an extreme nail biter. That was that was something. Not quite the Mariano Rivera like yawn and lay back and just watch him go. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Can you please get this last out? Please get it out. Please get it out. And then he finally did, but he definitely, you know, made everybody sit on the edge of their seats there. Like, definitely, like you said, not Mariano Rivera, not a sure thing. It was really scary. I thought they were going to have to bring in Albert Abreu or somebody else to help clean it up.
Loizaga was warming up.
Yes, he was. You're right.
Yeah, Loizaga was warming up there, so they obviously saw that, you know, Chapman, his fastball command, when he doesn't have that, I mean, it can be rough to watch because it almost looks like he has no idea where it's going. But he did bear down. There was also that play by Gleyber Torres, by the way, which should have ended the game. And he got shielded by the runner go from second to third.
Yes.
And it kind of fell down with it. So,
yeah.
You know, as much as Chapman was wild that night, the game should have been over right there. So that's not him. He made the pitch. He got him to do what they needed him to do, and it just didn't happen. But offensively, the big moment was Joey Gallo going 3 for 4 with his first homer in pinstripes, which is 26th of the season. Yeah, he drove in. It was a 3-run homer that went ahead and gave the Yanks the lead. And it was like a real – I mean, this thing was high as hell. It was crazy. It was like I thought rain was going to start coming down. Like, that's how high it was. And then it just scraped over the wall like, boop. That was in there. He had 2 runs scored. Gleyber Torres had an RBI. Stanton, once again, 2 for 4. Another multi-hit game, 2 runs scored. He was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Joey Gallo's quote after the game in the post game was phenomenal. So Joey Gallo grew up a Yankees fan. So then he was like, listen, if 10-year-old me knew that this was happening, he would be crying. Like that's it. So you kind of you kind of felt for him there. You're like, damn, dude, let it out now. Not a problem. Go ahead. Go on to start balling now. I thought that was a pretty awesome moment for Joey Gallo.
I'm calling him Little Nicky.
Go ahead. Yeah, like Lisa texted me that night about like a picture of Little Nicky, because there's times where he takes pictures and his eyes are like wide open, like he is staring into your soul, like through your soul, like it's crazy.
But it's not just that. It's because when he takes his hat off, he's got like this little fringe of bang, and he like purposely like shakes it in front of his face. And I was like, who does that look like? Who does that look like? And then I don't know, somebody must have said it, because I don't even know that movie like that. But then I looked at a picture of Adam Sandler as Little Nicky, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Joey Gallo. Also, fun fact, because you were talking about how the launch angle. So today at the game today, I saw on, they post like random facts on the Jumbotron, and it said for him at one of his at-bats that his launch angle is a 20.3 or whatever that means, and that's the third highest in the MLB. So he's kind of known for that. He's kind of known for his launch angle being kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're going to get from him. He's going to have a low batting average. He's going to strike out a lot, but he's also going to hit some mammoth home runs. I mean, I'm expecting we haven't seen like the one we're describing that he hit on Thursday night was not the mammoth home run, but it was really freaking high, man. Yeah. It was awfully high. So if he really squared that one up, man, we could be talking about upper deck in the new stadium, which is rarely achieved. I'm pretty sure it only hit once, and that was it. That is a moonshot. Yeah. So that was a big week for the Yanks, as they were, the Mariners rolled into town. Mariners are right on their heels in the wild card race. But then that takes us to Friday night, where the Bombers won in a walk-off and in 3-2. So the Yanks had no starter for this game, so they went with a bullpen game, which is always very dicey, very interesting to see how that goes. The Magic Wandy Peralta was the first one out of the pen. But figure we'll throw up the numbers there for the Yankees bullpen overall. 11 innings pitched, 9 hits scattered, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 9 Ks. I mean, if that was mostly from a starter, you'd be like, man, this is dominating performance. So, tip the cap to the Yankees bullpen for getting it done. But Abreu picked up the win in extra innings. Same story again. Giancarlo Stanton, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Aaron Judge drove in a run. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 5. Gardy, who came in as a pinch hitter for Jonathan Davis, was 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored, but picked up the game-winning single in the 11th inning. Yes. And Lisa was telling me earlier how she felt so good for Gardy. And it's true. Like, he had a chance to win it, and it was the 9th inning, and then missed that opportunity, and then came back around again. And he kind of had a good feeling that was the case. There was something in the 10th inning, though, that no, it was the 11th inning. So even though they did win the game, right, they had the runner on second, the ghost runner, the fantasy runner over there. But like a couple of weeks ago, Gleyber Torres bunted Gary Sanchez over when he was that runner. Gleyber started this inning off again. Why not do it again? It's a tie game. You're playing for 1 run. Why not just do that? ABC baseball, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I thought that was weird. I thought that was a little bit odd.
I thought it was odd too. Michael K was talking about it because I think one of the Mariners tried or squared to bunt but didn't execute the bunt in the top of the 11th or the top of the 10th, whichever inning it was in. And he was like, why would they do that? Because the Yankees still get up. The Yankees could do the exact same thing and just tie the game again, and we could just keep going. Like they need to get more than 1 run in. Yeah. Whereas the Yankees, like that's all you need to do. And whenever you go into extra innings this year with that ghost runner, that should be the very first thing the first batter does is just lay down that bunt.
If you're the home team, if you're the home team in a tie game, why wouldn't you do that? And the thing is, the Yankees just did it. Like
successfully.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you do this? Like that's the part that like really blows my mind. In that situation, like, why wouldn't you do that? Thankfully, with 2 outs, Gardner got the hit, so it's all good now. But like, you gotta stick with that. Like, why wouldn't you? That's whatever. That's something that drives me nuts with Boone, because Boone is making that call there. It's not one of these analytic things are being handed to him. Like, as we found out from Brian Cashman, apparently, in an interview he had done this week, he had mentioned that Boone is handed a suggested lineup, and then he is allowed to make his decisions and alterations based on what he feel like his gut feeling from the players and stuff like that. So at least that was a knowledge that's there. But again, though, Aaron Boone was hired because he is in on the analytics. So my guess is that he does not change that lineup very often. Pretty sure he goes over it and then no, he doesn't. So
he doesn't change it often.
It's a very weird way to do it.
Yeah. It's working right now, though. Well, before we get to the next game, I just want to mention a few things. So, in the night before, on August 5th, we did learn that Gary Sanchez was also placed on the COVID IL list, making him the 10th Yankee to be on that list, unfortunately. So that was the first game that was it Higashioka or Brantley? I think Higashioka started that game. It was Brantley?
No, it was Higashioka.
Oh, it was Higashioka. At the end of this game that you were just referring to, with all of the bullpen playing, it was Brett Gardner's 9th walk-off of his career. It was the Yankees had 11 games over 500 at the time, which was their season high. They used 9 pitchers in a non-September game for the first time ever. So another first in Yankees history.
Wow.
And none of those pitchers pitched more than 2 innings. Most of them only pitched an inning, and some of them were like, 1.2, 1.1. So very interesting. And of course, we are used to long Yankee games. This game was 4 hours and 16 minutes long. And shout out to Paul O'Neill, because he became a grandfather that day for the first time. Congrats to the O'Neill family. He was not announcing. We had John Flaherty, who I can't stand when he announces, just because I think he's boring. But that's why Paul O'Neill was absent, because he became a granddaddy. How cool would that be, that Paul O'Neill is your grandfather?
Yeah. That would be pretty badass right there.
Yeah.
Go to your Little League game and kick over the water cooler or the Gatorade thing in there, and just when it doesn't go right. I'd love to see that. But yesterday's game was the one that Brantley started, where the Yanks went ahead and took the third game of the series. They were down 4-0 pretty after 2 innings, because Andrew Heaney put them in a hole again. What do we say, though? 3-4 runs a game, and he went ahead and he did strike out 9. So he's kind of doing what Andrew Heaney does, but he picked up the win, his 7th of the season. Lasagna came in to get his 4th save of the year, because prior to the game, we found out that Aroldis Chapman was headed to the IL. Thankfully, not the COVID IL, but he had some elbow soreness, and maybe that explains some erraticness the other night before. So maybe not, or maybe that's just Chapman. That's fine. We get the damn save, and whatever it is. It doesn't have to be, always 1, 2, 3. We get it by now. So we got that, that shitty news before yesterday's game. But Loaizaga, maybe he's a de facto closer until Chapman gets back. I personally think we're going to see a combination of Loaizaga and Zach Britton. Britton obviously has a ton of closer experience when he was with the Orioles. So we'll see how that goes. Probably based on matchups, whatever it is. If there's 3 righties coming up, maybe they run out Loaizaga. Maybe if there's mostly lefties, or they just feel like the matchup's better based on whatever their analytics advanced tell them, then they run out Zach Britton. But DJ LeMahieu was 2 for 5. Aaron Judge was 2 for 4 with his 23rd homer of the year and a double. Giancarlo Stanton again 2 for 4 with a run scored. Tyler Wade was 2 for 2. Tyler Wade, who normally I would say cannot hit his weight or hit his way out of a wet paper bag, was 2 for 2, and that's fine. And then, but the big knock was Ruff Oder, banging his 13th homer of the year for his with 2 RBIs. He was the one who tied it up at 4. But I think the big one was the go-ahead run. So if you remember that, they went ahead and Rizzo was up. It looked like he was going to go ahead and wrap into an ending double play, which technically he did. But heads-up base running on the bases by DJ LeMahieu. Went ahead and there was a runner on third as well. So he went ahead and got himself in a rundown, because they went ahead and tagged first, so the force is off. So he got himself in a rundown, allowing the 5th run to score, and then obviously got tagged out, and that was it. But heads-up base running, especially from a team that we have seen boneheaded base running by for most of this season. So that was refreshing to see that was happening. And that brings us to this afternoon. Unfortunately.
Oh wait, before
Oh,
we
go
get
ahead.
to the sad before we get to the sad news, I just want to name a couple of things.
Yes.
My my man in my dreams. My guy, Parmesan Carlo had 5 straight multi-hit games, which was a career high. And since July 6th, the Yankees have had the best record in all of the major leagues, going 19-8 with a .704 win percentage. So kudos to them for that run. And it was their 31st comeback win of the season and their 4th straight.
I mean, listen, these are things that were not happening earlier in the year when they were struggling.
Absolutely.
They have gotten it together over the past month.
Absolutely. Remember when we were talking about, hey, can you steal a base? Hey, how about that? Or
Oh,
hey,
well,
throw it behind the runner. Can you please do that?
yeah, something along those lines would have been nice. And now we're getting them, and it's just yeah. When they were down 4-0 yesterday, I'm at the game and I'm kind of like I had a different feeling. It was like, yeah, I think they got this. Don't worry about it. It's okay. A month ago, 4-0 seemed like it was 12-0.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh God, like please do this. So there is that, but we'll get to today's game, which was, I mean, it was going ahead. Whoa, what is this? Let me go ahead and flip that out. My bad. Little producing thing did not click on something that I was supposed to. Okay.
It's all right.
We are back. We are back with it. All right, we got our bottom line here. So the Yanks are blank 2-0, not completing the sweep today over the Mariners. But again, as Lisa had mentioned, they did go ahead and won the series. But the Yankees are 5-11 now in games when they have a chance to sweep. I personally thought that number would have been a lot worse because it kind of feels like when they're going for the sweep, it just does not happen.
Right.
Often. So 5-11, still not great, but that's what it is. But Luis Gil was back on the mound today, making the second start of his career. 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Litke took the loss though. It kind of a rough one because he takes the loss and didn't give up an earned run. I mean, that was the rough odor ever at third base. That pretty much, allowed that whole fiasco to happen. But he did give up 2 hits and a walk, striking out 2. Gleyber Torres was 3 for 4 in the game with a double. But overall, the Yanks offense was 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position this afternoon.
Yeah.
Again, 0 for runners in scoring position. Excellent chance you don't win that game. The crap news that came in, though, is that Gleyber, when he did steal his base earlier today, did go ahead and got his thumb banged up. We were watching and noticed that Wade was in the 9th inning. Started to speculate why. Boone sounds like his words were that he is concerned about Gleyber due to his thumb, apparently. So I don't know if it's severely jammed. Hopefully not broken because that's going to knock him out for a little while. So fingers crossed. But he was getting an MRI. We'll probably find out more tomorrow. So we'll share that on the Facebook page and keep everyone updated on that. But it was definitely knew something was up once he didn't finish the game. And really sucks too because he's been heating up. Stan had his 5 consecutive games with multi-hit games, but Gleyber's starting to come around. Like he's starting to drive the ball better to all fields, harder contact consistently. It'll be no pun intended a bad break if that's so it goes. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It wasn't, but it would be a bad break for the Yanks.
So speaking of a bad break, I am surprised you didn't lead with this. I just want to check in with you. How are you feeling? Because I know how you're feeling, but just share with the rest of the world. How are you feeling about Anthony Rizzo right now?
I woke up late, checked my Twitter as I'm trying to get caught up, and that's the first thing that I see report from any reporter I follow. Anthony Rizzo is officially on the COVID IL. Sucks. It really sucks. I mean, he's been awesome since joining the team. I mean, he's been exactly what the Yankees needed, like literally what they needed. And I'm already on team extend Rizzo, sign, and let's get him locked up and everything like that too. But we know the Yanks don't do that until the offseason. So, I'm just yelling into the wind right there. But no, it sucks, man. Like I'm really hoping that they don't lose that boost of energy that they've got, that fun factor that's been infused back to the Yanks this past week. Luke Voit did make his return to the lineup today. A couple of tough spots he came up in, and also, he did make two nice stops in the field. One of them he ended up trying to go ahead and go to second base with that, but ended up airmailing it into right field. I did see a different angle. No, I did see it. I did see a different angle though.
I didn't think he airmailed it. I actually thought that was Gleyber Torres' fault.
So apparently, when I saw the video later on, the throw was there. The throw was fine.
Yes.
Rough Odor didn't want to go ahead and get in the way of the runner and go ahead and take the throw because they were in a shift.
Okay, so I saw Gleyber kind of like running towards second, but then when the runner kept going, he had to go cover third.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw Gleyber running towards, or maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was Odor, and I'm just getting the two of them mixed up. But whoever it was running towards second, and then the runner kept running, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta go cover third now."
No, you're right. You're right.
And
that was
he
Gleyber.
threw it towards that person.
Yeah,
that's who he threw it towards.
I thought Odor could have had it. Honestly, I thought he could have had it. Didn't go ahead and impede the runner there. I personally think he could have had it, and at least you get the force at second base. And not what we ended up getting. Listen, yes, I'm wearing a Luke Voit shirt, but I am not a fan of Luke Voit's defense, like by any stretch of the imagination. It was so nice and relaxing to see Rizzo. It's not going to show up in any of these stats, but a lot of the errors he's saved, especially with Odor playing third base. And he had a quote the other day that Odor is the one who actually told everyone that Rizzo went ahead again, like a leader normally will, and told him, "Hey, listen, I know you're starting over there. Don't worry about it. Don't think about the throw. Just get it over there. I'm going to catch everything. I got your back." And he literally has. I mean, so the Yankees defense is something to keep an eye on moving forward with Voit back at first base. I mean, maybe you see some DJ LeMahieu at first base and Stanton gets back in the outfield again, and then you can DH Voit. Because Voit should be in the lineup. I just don't want him with a glove in the lineup. I want him just with a bat in his hand, and that's about it.
And Stanton should be in the outfield.
Yes, Stanton should be in the outfield. Why not? Go with the big man outfield again. Go with Stanton, Judge, and Gallo if you need to here and there.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. But yeah, no, it was a really, really bummer thing to hear when you got up, especially after a comeback win yesterday. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna head to the stadium and do this. And my Gallo and Rizzo shirt showed up from RotoWare, and I was ready to go. And I'm like, I can't do this now. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to save this one. Yeah, this was not the day for that. But we had mentioned the stolen base with Gleyber Torres. So prior to the All-Star break, the Yankees had the fewest stolen bases in the major leagues, which was 20. Okay, 20 stolen bases for an entire half of the season. Since then, they have the most in all of baseball since the All-Star game with 18.
Nice. And I think 11 of them were from Gleyber.
Yeah, Gleyber's been it. Greg Allen in the lineup. Lemaire, even Gardy's got into it. Rizzo stole a base the other day.
Yes, he did. Which
was kind of shocking. But, that's not something you're expecting to get from the guy. But it's nice to see the Yankees continue to diversify the offense. I'm with Voit back in the lineup and things like that. I'm just really hoping that we don't go back to sitting around, striking out, hoping a 3-run homer happens constantly. Keep with that. That's been one of the biggest reasons they've had to turn around is the diversity of the offense now, playing better defense. Obviously, the pitching has gotten going again. So you kind of want to see that going. And we'll get more to it in a second, but you're heading to a series that you should handle, with Kansas City. So
yeah. Also, before we get to that, there's one more thing that they should do, and I mentioned this today. Can you go back to wearing masks in the dugout, guys? Please, until this until it kind of slows down a little bit. It just seems like this week it was every other day somebody else was going on the COVID list. So if that's the case, put your masks back on. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. Just wear them in the dugout. It's that simple.
Yeah, because you're really killing your not literally, but you're hurting your team with this. I don't want to mince words right there. Maybe it wasn't the proper thing to say, but no, you are hurting your team. Obviously, we hope that you're healthy as well. But until this thing gets under control, then that's maybe what's got to happen. Yanks do lead Major League Baseball with the percentage of vaccinations on the team, but apparently they're still having a lot of breakthroughs. It's 85%. 85% of the Yankees are vaccinated. But Rizzo's situation is interesting because I think it was Lindsay Adler who had mentioned, who covers the Yanks, that in June, Rizzo did mention that he was not vaccinated yet, that he was waiting to see more data about it. But I think before we, and I'm guilty of this too, that I would jump on it like, what data do you need? Go ahead, get your shot, whatever. Rizzo also did battle cancer a couple of years ago and stuff like that. So maybe his conversations with his doctors that they've had or something like that. I don't know. He seemed like he'd be a guy who would be kind of taking care of himself and things like that. But you could also look at it that since he had cancer, then maybe that should push you more to want to get it, because I don't know all the details of when your immune system gets back to and things like that. But if you are compromised, if you have a compromised immune system, then that would lead you to believe that maybe you would have more been inclined to get the vaccine. So I don't know. It's a lot of medical stuff that I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing one on a podcast or anything like that or on TV. So just throwing the information out there. So before you jump on Rizzo or jump on anything else, let's just make sure. We'll say, I'm pretty sure the guy seems like a pretty straight up guy, so he'll probably address it and find out. He may have also been vaccinated between now and then when that interview happened. So we don't really know. He's also not obligated to say it either. He doesn't have to tell us.
Right.
So yeah, he's not
and
at
again,
all.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your status, whether you were vaccinated or not. Just wear the masks because it's clearly still happening on that team.
Yeah.
So take the precautions.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got, Cole is out now on a COVID IL. Monty's out on a COVID IL. Now Rizzo's out on a COVID IL.
Gary
Sanchez is out on a COVID IL. Like they're taking a beating with this thing. And we've had other players. Gio was on it. Judge was on it. I mean, it's almost like Glaber was on it too. Mm-hmm. But they also found out, I think his was a false positive. But he also had COVID last year. So it's not like he was, not in a part of this thing. So, fingers crossed we can get him back and they can continue rolling, because, I mean, it would be really shitty for that to be the reason that, they don't finish off this comeback and everything like that, because they're hot on the heels for the second wild card of Oakland. They're a game and a half out of that. Toronto went ahead and ended up walking off Boston while I was on my way home too. So the Rays did win today, but the Yanks are back in the division race, creeping back in. And again, it would be pretty shitty to see this is how it happens though.
Yeah.
But one more last note on Luis Gil today. So Luis Gil is the first pitcher in the modern era, which is since 1900, with 14 plus Ks and fewer than 10 base runners and 0 runs allowed in his first 2 career Major League Baseball games.
Nice. Good for him. Yeah, he looked good today. He looked really good today. Good. It was our offense that didn't do it for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just it's frustrating. The kid's doing his job. And I know Boone had mentioned in the post game today that we're gonna see him again, because they're obviously gonna keep asking these questions. But we got guys out. We need fresh arms. He's stretched out to throw 90 to 100 pitches. So why wouldn't you go? And then it'll get interesting once Cole comes back and Monty comes back. What happens? Because if Gil is pitching well and he's still doing this, I mean, you can't, in your right mind, send him down. Mm-hmm. So you're going to need to make another move. I mean, so, well, and Herman is also on the IL right now, but not the COVID IL. So you can see him back. The Yanks are expecting, at least on a good note, the Yanks are expecting Gio Urshela to come back. He's due back this week. So we'll see if we can get him back. Sevy also made his second rehab start earlier today and threw 4 perfect innings.
There we go.
So
he's on his way back as well.
Yeah, they had mentioned that he might make one more rehab start, and then we'll see what happens.
All right.
So that'll be reinforcements hopefully on the way, and then make sure Sevy wears a mask and does all this other stuff, and we can't have him oh, listen, I'm finally back, and then bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
definitely don't want that, and I'm very much looking forward to Gio Urshela coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be nice, because then that gets rough odor off of third base and
more confidence at third for sure.
Get the defense back a little bit. Let's get to our weekly awards quickly. Lisa, you want to kick us off with your top of the heap?
Yes, I do. And I've been waiting to name this person as the top of the heap for a while. As you saw, every time Ed talked about him, I gave him the claps. Not just because he deserved it from having such a wonderful week, but because I love him. So, Giancarlo Stanton, affectionately known as Parmesan Carlo, which he said today while we were watching the Jumbotron, and I thought that was great because he owns it. He has been on fire, except for today, over the course of the last few games. He's just been looking like he was locked in. As we mentioned, he had 5 games with multiple hits, which was his career high in doing so. And getting big hits when it matters, even if it's a blooper that the Orioles should have caught. But that blooper turned into a 3-run double. So
Line driving the book, like we say.
there we go. He's moving the runners, he's scoring runs, he's contributing on the field, and he looks really comfortable out there despite not having played in a few years too. So over the last few weeks, his stats are over the last week, excuse me, his stats are a 400 average, 1.06 OPS, 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 6 runs, 10 hits, 4 walks, and a 500 on base percentage and 560 slugging percentage. I am gonna say a special shout out as actually I won't because this might be your player, your top of the heap. So let me turn it over to you.
It will not be because I'm going with Stanton as well.
What? Okay.
Yes, we have the same, so go for it.
All right, so my second one is Gleyber Torres. Now his nickname isn't as fun. It's De Caracas. Like, come on, guys, can you be a little bit more creative than saying the guy from Caracas? Okay, we get it. He's Venezuelan. Cool. Like he could have such a better nickname than that. Gleyber Torres, though, Ed was mentioning, he's been on fire as well. So we really hope this thumb injury doesn't keep him out for long. Okay, we're starting.
No, sorry, nope, we're not. We're not.
His average over the last week was 417, 991 OPS, no home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 runs, 10 hits, 1 walk, 407 on base percentage, and a 583 slugging percentage. So shout out to Gleyber too, who I will not be calling De Caracas because that is just a boring nickname.
Yeah, I'm not going to be calling that either. Nope. I'll stick with GT or Gleyber or Fun.
We'll find a fun one for him at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. So King of the Hill, our pitcher of the week. I mean, Luis Hill. I mean, he has to be it. I mean, there's absolutely no way. So Luis Hill's my guy. We've mentioned all the reasons why. We mentioned the numbers. We mentioned the MLB debut. So that's my King of the Hill for this week.
So while I 100% agree with you, I am going to show compassion and also say Andrew Heaney, aka Heen Dog, which I don't like that one either. I just want to shout him out because he had a really bad game, and then he started off his second game of the week with giving up 4 runs, and after that he shut the Mariners down for the rest of the game. He retired the last 14 of 16 batters faced in his second game. I think he could have easily imploded. It seems like he went into the dugout and got mad and went in a tunnel and like screamed at himself or something. Because Michael K mentioned that like he went in the tunnel like really pissed off, and then he came back and then was able to kind of like dominate. And he kept the game manageable for the Yankees. He didn't let any more runs score. The Yankees were able to catch up and then capitalize and win the game. So just want to like send him some encouragement from afar and some compassion and be like, keep it going, Heen Dog. I'm not saying that again.
Yeah, that's a rough one. That's not great. No, I can see that. Yeah, he did settle down after the second inning and then kind of locked it down after that. So that is very nice of you to show the compassion for that, because I was rolling my eyes and cursing in the first 2 innings of the game yesterday. I was just like, oh God, please, not this. I was also sweating a bunch and it was super humid yesterday, so that wasn't helping either. All right, so we got our awards out of the way, so let's roll on to our preview of the upcoming Yanks road trip because their homestand has been wrapped up. Lisa, let's get into it.
All right, so in our first game against the Royals tomorrow, we are going to be battling against Carlos Hernandez, who is a right-hand pitcher. He has a 3-1 record, 4.58 ERA, and 48 strikeouts. He will be battling against Jamison Tyone, who is a right-hand pitcher as well. His record is 7-4, 4.04 ERA, and 108 strikeouts. So we'll see how that plays out. Game 2 on Tuesday, we will be playing against Daniel Lynch, who's a left-hand pitcher. His record is 2-3. He has a 6.0 ERA and 20 strikeouts. Versus my boy Nestor Cortez, holding it down for the team again. He is a left-handed pitcher as well. His record is 0-0. He's a 2.15 ERA and 41 strikeouts. So let's go, Nestor. Keep holding it down for the team, as we're missing some of our starters. Game 3 on Wednesday, August 11th, we are battling Brady Singer. He's a right-hand pitcher, 3-7 record, 5.13 ERA, and 92 strikeouts, versus our favorite pitcher of all time, to be determined, which likely means we think it's going to be a bullpen game again. So we'll see how that plays out. But to be determined. I mean, they have some amazing games. So let's see how they do. And as you mentioned, we should be beating the Royals. Sorry, Angie.
Yeah, they really need to take care of business in Kansas City because the Royals are pretty bad. So, you got to get those ones when you can, especially because after that they face the White Sox, which that's a rough team.
In the Field of Dreams.
Yes, the Field of Dreams game on Thursday night. So the Yanks earlier this week had Yanks and the White Sox both went ahead and released images of their Field of Dreams uniforms because they'll have exclusively before that game, which we're popping on the screen right now.
Yes.
So Lisa, thoughts, since we like to review possible new uniforms here and stuff like that. You digging them? Not digging them?
I am digging them. Way better than the All-Star uniforms. Maybe I'm just, a girl who likes some nostalgia because I just think these throwbacks look great. I actually have to say I like the White Sox one more. I think it looks really, really cool. Maybe because it's their home uniform. Maybe if the Yankees had a home uniform for the Field of Dreams, I would probably like that more. I do love the throwback Yankee hat, though. I think it looks really great. But that White Sox uniform, the socks, and I don't know, just everything about it, even the way the pinstripes look, it just looks so cool. I'm looking forward to watching that game on Thursday. It's going to be really exciting to see.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a pretty awesome event. I mean, I'm also really hoping that this is something that baseball decides to do moving forward, like once a year, have games played at the Field of Dreams game. Not quite sure why they just didn't do a series. I mean, maybe it has to do with attendance because the Yanks do play with the Field of Dreams game on Thursday against the White Sox, who the White Sox are the home team. Only 7,000, capacity. Then they have the off day for travel, I guess, on Friday. Mm-hmm. And then they resume the series Saturday and Sunday in Chicago at, what is it, US Cellular or whatever the heck the name is. I don't know. They sell the naming rights all the time with that. But they'll be in Chicago for that. I personally would have liked to see them play the full weekend series there. And I'll give them Thursday off and just roll with that.
Yeah, I think that would have been cool. And maybe if this game goes well, they'll explore doing that next year. I mean, it's only going to help the people of Idaho out, bring no offense to Idaho. I don't know how many other Americans are traveling there just because. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the farm where the field was created, and I heard they have this really great corn maze there now too, as well as part of the attraction. Like they're gonna get a lot of business at the farm, so it's only like a plus for that state to continue to hold something like this, and to have it for the whole weekend is pretty cool. But yeah, if they do that, I think they're gonna have to look into perhaps having more seating.
Yeah, I think so. Well, honestly, maybe the White Sox. The White Sox are the ones who had to give up home games for this. Mm-hmm. So again, obviously they're going to draw more than 7,000, in their regular home ballpark. So maybe they were the ones who were kind of like, all right, we'll do it for one game since it is what it is, but we're not giving up that that gate for two other games. My guess is that's probably what it is. But hopefully, Major League Baseball can work something out with going forward, because I would personally like to see a full series played there.
I mean, I think it's easy though. Like to me, that's an easy solve, right? So I don't know the ins and outs of Major League Baseball, the organization, but like whoever the home team is, they get a higher percentage of ticket sales
Mhm.
for the game, even if it's just even if it's just Idahoans buying the tickets. It doesn't matter. The home team gets the higher percentage of the sales for the tickets.
Yeah.
There you go. Problem solved.
Nice.
And again, and that's including creating more seating though, obviously, because 7,000 and whatever amount that the White Sox usually hold, I'm sure it's 35 to 45,000. That's a huge difference, of course. So
Yeah.
adding extra seating would help.
Yeah, as far as the uniforms go, I mean, I love both of them. I mean, Yanks uniforms, like the fact that they kept it classic, kept it clean. You know, and like I was saying before, it looks like a Yankees throwback uniform, like you would expect it to be. Not that they've changed it drastically over the years, because obviously they haven't. But you know, the altered NY logo a little bit seems a little bit more classic throwback. The gray jersey obviously doesn't have the outlining that it does now, so that's a difference. But I do love them. And the White Sox uniforms look really cool too. I mean, obviously both inspired by the film and everything. So I think both look pretty dope. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on Thursday night as well.
So do you think we'll have anybody that'll wear like the old uniforms that were like the baggy pant, like almost like the pantaloon looking pants?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I think Judge will do it.
Nice.
I do. Nice. That's gonna be my guess. Is that anyone who wears like the high socks, I can see them going with that kind of a thing.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah, that's going to be my guess to it. All right, but yeah, that's on Fox on Thursday night, so, you know, tune in for that. I'm sure it'll also capture, you know, other fans who are not normal fans of the White Sox or the Yankees, just, you know, fans in general, just to check it out. It's kind of reminds me also what the NHL does with the outdoor games that they have, the Winter Classic and stuff. It's kind of like a novelty thing, and they have that. I can see baseball going that route. You know, maybe doing this, maybe having a game played in Cooperstown. You know, maybe you could do something cool like that. Yeah, I think they could be onto something here. But I still think you should just do a whole series and not just one game.
I agree. So. And we also mentioned when we were at the game today that it would be really cool if Kevin Costner threw out the first pitch.
Yes, I would be shocked if he's not the one to throw out the first pitch. Mm-hmm. He has to be. He's a huge baseball fan too, so he has to be. Absolutely. All right. Let's go ahead and get back to this, because producing stuff does happen and stuff. So, nope. I heard it. Nope. Look at that. It actually worked this time. So, thanks for joining us tonight. We always appreciate it as always. If you're if you like what you heard tonight, go ahead and you're on Facebook. Join our Empire 161 show group. Go ahead, we share lineups, final scores, highlights, all of that. Come check us out. Join the conversation daily. We're also Pop Culture Pros. If you're into the Mets, check out the Put in a Book show. We know we have some Met fans that check out our show. Appreciate the support, but you can also check them out. If you're into wrestling, Tuesday nights, you can find Tim and Eric. They'll be doing a Just Too Sweet show. Check them out. Granny's Peach Tea is a show that we have for comic book movies and stuff. And we'll be going on. It'll be me and Jason and maybe Tony, maybe not. We don't know. He's been kind of popping in and out lately, but we'll be talking about a brand new movie, The Suicide Squad, that dropped this weekend. So come check us out on Tuesday night. If you're into anything at all, A to Z show, Monday nights. Eric is there. Super entertaining show. So you can go ahead and check that out. All right. So Lisa, any parting words before we head out?
No, just thank you everybody for your support. Remember to chime in, send us some comments, give us some suggestions as well. We look forward to seeing you again next weekend. And thanks for tuning in, everybody, as always.
Everyone, stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Enjoy the Field of Dreams game. And we'll see you guys next Sunday night. Peace.
Bye, everybody.